As Dark Armed Dragon continued to dominate the Yu-Gi-Oh! Metagame, the darkness would only grow stronger as the months progressed. The ironically named Emperor of Darkness structure deck was released on April 2nd, 2008. This would further bolster dark-oriented decks with not only the introduction of Caius the Shadow Monarch, but a new spell card in the form of Different Dimension Reincarnation. Paired with that was the release of the first ever Gold Series set, which was significant due to housing the first ever reprint of the highly coveted Crush Card Virus, even though it was extremely short printed. Additionally, a new ban list was released on May 9th, 2008. Dimension Fusion was banned from competitive play, Return from the Different Dimension was limited to 1 copy per deck, and Allure of Darkness was now semi-limited to 2 copies per deck. That's right, Dark Armed Dragon, the card responsible for Yu-Gi-Oh's first ever Tier 0 format, decimating everything in its path, managed to escape the May 2008 ban list completely unscathed. In this series, both MBT and myself will be traversing the sands of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Each episode will take a deep dive into Yu-Gi-Oh's past formats and unlock new strategies as new sets become available. Strap yourselves in because anything is possible. Welcome to the history of Yu-Gi-Oh!
This video is a message, and a system of messages. Pay attention to it. This metagame is not one of honor. No esteemed deed is commemorated here. Nothing of value is here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! For many individuals, May of 2008 was when they took their permanent hiatus from the card game, and looking at this wheel, realistically, who can blame them? During March and April, individuals playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Had a choice. They could either give in to the forces of darkness and play Dad Return in some capacity, or they could try and jam something that went over the top. We saw Magical Explosion, Six Samurai, Proto-Gladiator Beast builds have a small amount of success, but by May, the format's over. In fact, the Shonen Jump Championship that occurred during this time was 8 dad decks. That's right, 8 different dad decks who are represented on this wheel in front of us. It's not too difficult to see why people got frustrated with this format. Dad was a $300 card at the time. If you weren't independently wealthy, you were either not playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or losing to Dark Armed Dragon. It was a period of intense frustration for individuals at the local level, at the competitive level, hell, even at their playgrounds. If someone had pulled a dad, you knew they were going to walk away with the match. Now, thankfully, this changes pretty quickly. The release of Light of Destruction 3 days after this SJC event, in fact, puts Gladiator Beasts at the top of the standing as Geyserus becomes ubiquitous. But at the tournament right before it, this was all you could play. In fact, in the top 16 of this SJC, 14 were on Dad decks, the other 2 being on Monarch control decks that aimed to slow the game down to a snail's pace, beat Dad specifically, and go over the top with Caius the Shadow Monarch. And they did not see very much success. They got out at their earliest convenience. Jason Holloway won the Nashville SJC, which we are using for this episode, and had to chew through all of these strategies on his way to the top. Truth be told, there's not a lot of difference between these 4 decks. Dad Allure plays 2 copies of Allure of Darkness. Eldad plays Light and Darkness Dragon to go over the top of some other Dad decks. Dad Return plays Return from the Different Dimension, and Dad Control plays a small Gravekeeper's package and maybe a couple copies of Caius. Realistically, I do not care what I get. I've got spins for days and I don't want to spend them here, so let's just get it over with, I suppose. I mean, sure, fine. The Dad Allure is a decent deck. It did okay. And at the end of the day, these games are going to be determined by the big boy himself. Let's get into deck edit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is officially over, and if there was a 10th circle of hell, this is probably what it would look like, perfectly balanced as all things should be. Welcome to the first ever Tier 0 format in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Armed Dragon has taken over the game, and as you can see by this wheel here, it is absolutely everywhere. There are like a couple couple of decks that managed to get tops around this point in time, but if you weren't playing Dark Arm Dragon, you just weren't playing Yu-Gi-Oh! This was the first time in which players really felt priced out of the game, and even more so, especially when Crush Card Virus was reprinted, because it was so heavily short printed from Gold Series that it was like a $300 card on top of trying to get your copies of Dark Arm Dragon. In addition to that, it was a very dark time in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. So for today's wheel, we have many different flavors of Dark Arm Dragon to pick from here. All of these different Dark Arm Dragon variants are from May of 2008, right before the release of Light of Destruction, so there is a light at the end of this tunnel here. But Joseph and I had to showcase one of the most important points of Yu-Gi-Oh's history, a point in which both him and I simultaneously took a hiatus from the game because we just really didn't feel like playing anymore. That's the effect that Dark Arm Dragon had on a lot of people, and so we have 4 different decks to choose from today. We have Dad Return. You did get to see this in the last episode, but it didn't really have the best of showings considering we got blown out by Magical Explosion. But Dark Arm Return just focuses on turboing out Dad, using Return from the different dimension or Dimension Fusion to just go in for an OTK. Dad Control is playing a little bit of a slower game, but still looking to be able to up it to 11 when it absolutely has to. You'll see a difference in some of the card choices here that will differ from, say, Dad Return. Dad Allure is actually just one of the deck names from this that was piloted by Lazaro, I believe. A few more differences here, but we just wanted to have another slice on the wheel, to be honest, so we just put the name on here. It's really not that much different from the other decks. And Eldad is a little bit different because this has a bit of a focus around Light and Darkness Dragon, you know, L-A-D-D, get it? That's why it's called Eldad. But Light and Darkness Dragon obviously has its place in Yu-Gi-Oh's history and does make a slight comeback during this time because it is definitely a force to be reckoned with. And some of these decks also have a bit of a slight Monarch influence as well, with Ryza as well as Caius as well, and so maybe we'll get to see a little bit of that. I did lose the last episode, however, so I only get 2 spins, so this is my first one here. Let's hope for the best and hope we get something good. Honestly, a lot of these decks are just almost identical except for maybe 10 cards, so I might just be happy playing any of them, and yep, Dad Return. All right, I'll take it.
So here's the list. This is Lazaro Bolito's 8th place Allure Dad deck from SJC Nashville, and it is extremely spooky. There's a lot going on in here. Lazaro actually had an unbelievable run in Swiss. Round 7, he had to play against James Naughton and came out on top. In fact, the go-round for Lazaro, he had to play against Gravekeepers, playing a Cat of Ill Omen to Necro Valley him out of the game and squeaked out a close one. He did end up dropping in top 8, but not before being forever emblazoned on Yu-Gi-Oh! Top decks where we could steal his list. This is really good. I mean, it's kind of a who's who of extremely bannable cards. We have cyclers for unbelievable amounts of draw power. We have finishers like Jinzo that were still formidable in their own right. We have intensely unfair cards like Dark Magician of Chaos. And of course, we have the big daddy himself, Dark Armed Dragon. I'll just walk you through the individual cards. They are pretty self-explanatory by this time. 1 copy of Card Trooper. This could mill a Malicious at the time, which was very good. Cyber Valley's in here as well. Some individuals were playing 3 copies of Valley and a Machine Duplication, but most individuals had recognized that that was not good enough. We've got 2 DD Crow. This is to screw up opponents' Dark Arm Dragon math and to get more Darks into your graveyard at will. We've got 3 Dark Arm Dragon, 1 copy of Dark Greffer, 1 Dark Magician of Chaos. Dark Greffer can bin this card extremely easily, and it's fantastic to get it back. We've got a Destiny Hero Disc Commander, a Fearmonger. God, I hate this card. 2 Malicious, a Stratos that now has about 4 targets instead of 1. Jinzo, Morphing Jar, Phantom of Chaos was a big deal at the time. It allows you to banish an effect monster in your graveyard, and it becomes that effect monster. Great way to turn into a Dark Arm Dragon, and though it only lasts until the end of the turn, it still can pop your opponent's field, provided you're copying Dad. We've got Sangan, we've got Spirit Reaper, we've got 2 Allure of Darkness, one of the only decks playing this card. Allure of Darkness is a funny card. People see it and hear draw 2 and turn on the blinders, but it's actually not fantastic. It's not a draw 2, you're going even on card advantage because it costs you the Allure on the card that you banish. It's only really good if you have some sort of upside for the card you're banishing, or if you're a deck that has a lot of really powerful individual cards that net you more than going going even if you draw them. This is one of those decks. It has Dark Arm Dragon, and it also gets a little bit of benefit from banishing. You can potentially get rid of like a DMOC and then bring it back with a DDR. Speaking of, we've got a Brain Control and Different Dimension Reincarnation, newly released, incredibly powerful card, allows you to summon something from the banished zone. In many ways, a better version of Dimension Fusion, because if your opponent is on a deck with DMOC, you're not going to run into them cycling theirs as well. 3D draw now that we have a bunch more targets, a Heavy Storm, a Monster Reborn, a Premature Burial, 2 Rotas, and then CCV. That is right, the Gold Series was released around this time, and as a result, everyone has Crush Card Virus, and there's a ton of targets. This is going to be a bad one. We've got Dust Tornado, Double Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, Return from the Different Dimension, 3 Solemn Judgment, love this in a format with CCV and Dad, Torrential Tribute, and Trap Dust Shoot. Great way to know how close your opponent is to Dad at any given time. In the side, we've got 2 Cypher Soldier, 2 Jujutsu Master, a Snipe Hunter, a Treeborn Frog, 2 Zaborg, a Mystical Space Typhoon, Dust Tornado. Pulling the Rugs are in here for the aforementioned Monarch decks, and Royal Decree is in here for nonsense, including Magical Explosions. So, let's make it happen.
This is the absolute last opportunity, again, to stop Joseph from going for the three-peat, so we have to pull out all the stops. So this is Chris Bowling's 3rd place dad return list from SJC Nashville. Now, you may notice that this is playing Light and Darkness Dragon. I didn't realize that this was playing Light and Darkness Dragon, but it's called Dad Return. And so Joseph and I said whatever we spun on the wheel is just basically what the deck we would pick is. And so I guess we're playing Dad as well, but there's some interesting things going on here, and so that's why I wanted to pick this deck in particular, because first of all, it got top 4, which was slightly better than the other Dad Return deck, and secondly, it looks a little bit more interesting, so let's go ahead and talk about why that is. So first up, we have a Card Trooper, great for dumping cards in the grave, 1 DD Crow. I like this in the main because you can just get stuff out of the grave in a pinch, but also you can just banish it for a lure, so that's pretty cool. We also have the 3 Dark Arm Dragon. It's the main win condition, no shocker there. 1 Dark Grepher, great way to load up the graveyard as well. 1 Dark Magician of Chaos for getting back our spells. 1 Disc Commander for drawing. 1 Fearmonger for getting back the Disc Commander. 2 Malicious just to have some more tribute fodder for some of these bigger monsters. 2 copies of Destiny Hero Plasma. This is a card that we typically haven't seen in these lists. It is another target for Destiny draw at the very least, but it also is a way for us to be able to steal some of our opponent's monsters. I feel like this is very unlikely to come up, but we do get to opportunities where we can swarm the field with some of the cards that we have, and so this is why this is in here, I suppose. We'll see how it goes, but there is another reason for this as well, and that's because we're playing 2 copies of Trade-In, and so this being both a target for Destiny draw and Trade-In is really nice because we're playing a lot of level 8s in this deck. We're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess that's not a lot, but it's a decent number. Unfortunately, Dark Arm Dragon's a 7. Could you imagine if this was a Trade-In target? That would be crazy, but having more abilities to deep draw and either load up the grave with more darks or just get to some of our power cards, I think is a pretty good thing. We also have the 1 Stratos, the 1 Jinzo, 2 Light and Darkness Dragon to seal up the game, 1 Sangan, and 1 Spirit Reaper. For the spells, 2 Allure of Darkness, 1 Brain Control, 3 Destiny Draw, 1 Fires of Doomsday. I still don't know why decks were really playing this. I understand why. It gives you tribute fodder for the following turn if you just flip it up during your end phase. It just doesn't really seem that good to me. Maybe just I haven't seen it actually be used yet. So, I mean, these players obviously topped the event, and I didn't, but this card just seems a little bit whack. We have 1 Gold Sark, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Monster Reborn, Premature Burial, Double Reinforcement, 1 Scapegoat, and of course the 2 Trade-In. And for the traps, there's only 5 of them. You have to remember around this time, Dark Arm Return was basically like the boogeyman in the room, and so a lot of people started side decking Royal Decree specifically for it. So we're only playing 1 Return from the Different Dimension. We do have the Crush Card Virus. This was reprinted in Gold Series, so it was much more accessible to players, and I say much more accessible in the most relative sense because it was still like a $300 card. 1 Mind Crush, 1 Torrential Tribute, and 1 Trap Dust Shoe. For the side deck, we've got some interesting stuff going on here, and this is the other reason why I wanted to play this deck. 1 Caius the Shadow Monarch. This was released in the Dark Emperor structure deck. Very ironic considering around the time that Dark Arm Dragon was legal, but Caius, when it's tribute summoned, you target a card on the field, banish it, and if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent if it is a dark monster. So this is just next in line with Ryza because it can go after monsters or spells and traps. It also allows you to deal damage to the opponent as well to clean up games that you otherwise might be at a stalemate, and so Caius was a very warm welcome for Monarch strategies. A second copy of DD Crow just to be able to fight off any of the other Dark Arm focused decks, 2 copies of Mobius, and 1 Ryza. So for some of the Dad control decks around this time, or maybe even some of the other decks that weren't playing Dad, having the back row removal is very nice before you go in and summon Dad. And for those slower Dad control decks in particular, being able to go into a sort of Monarch core is not bad when you have a lot of ways to get monsters on the field very easily. We have 1 Snipe Hunter for removal, 1 Treeborn Frog to help with the Monarch component here. We're not really playing that much back row aside from these 5 traps and I guess Scapegoat, so that's pretty okay. For the spells, Foolish Burial, Mystical Space Typhoon, Soul Exchange to help with the Monarch package, and for the traps, a Dust Tornado, 2 Regeki Break, and 2 copies of Royal Decree. This is going to be interesting because I don't know which variant of Dark Arm Dragon Joseph is going to go with. It could go any way realistically, but one way or another, I think you're going to see some dads dropping in this episode. But let's not make you wait any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to duel. Joseph, here we are. The end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is upon us. The dark age of Dark Arm Dragon has fully taken over with its grasp, and now we are getting to experience that full force. This is not going to be fun. No. I don't think this is going to be fun whatsoever.
I mean, it would have to happen on the eve of my three-peat. It would have to be, Joseph, for your 3rd episode, you have to win the bullshit dad mirror against the individual with Crush card glued to their opener. Oh, God. I have to ask, did you quit during this period?
I did, and I think I mentioned that in the opening. You did as well,
I did,
correct?
Yes. Yeah. I couldn't keep up. It was too much money.
It was just an incredible amount of money. I actually remember, and I'm not sure if anyone from Vegas remembers this from this regional, what would this be, 13 years ago? But someone in Vegas who's a local here, he's a very well-known player, actually won the regional with Dark Arm Return, and then his deck got stolen at that event after winning. And then everyone was checking anyone who came in and out, all of the bags, to see if they could find this guy's deck, because it was like $3,000.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And yeah, I mean, it was a lot of money. And like, obviously now we talk about expensive Yu-Gi-Oh formats. This was one hell of a format to be playing in. And if you weren't playing Dark Arm Dragon, I mean, as we saw in the metagame articles that you and I were reading up on before recording this episode, you did not have a chance. It was such an uphill battle for you.
I was playing at the time the Gravekeeper Monarch list that got top 16, and even that, you were constantly being just domed by Dad. It was really terrible.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting. I mean, we didn't really get to show off much Dad in the last episode. You're talking about the sacky Dad mirror. You had a pretty sacky episode last time, sir. So I think you got your fill.
It was all skill.
I think it's my turn. Yeah, all skill. Why would you go read Premature Burial and Giant Trunade interactions there, buddy? Yeah,
hey, listen,
okay.
I was just nerfing my own deck so you would have a chance, you know?
Fair.
Of
fair,
course, and
fair.
Of course it didn't matter, so...
You know. Of course, because, you know, I don't know how to read either, so, you know, that wouldn't have mattered regardless. But let's get into it, buddy. You ready? We got to get it done. We got to get it done. I think people are going to be excited. We do have to shout out our patron. It is Cimoooooooo Cheats at RPS. Cimoooooooo Cheats at RPS. Thank you for the support.
Thank you for speaking truth to power.
Randomly picked, by the way, that patron name. Usually, like, sometimes we see a funny one and we'll purposefully say it. That one Joseph picked at random, and that was the one that it was. So I had to save it specifically for that moment.
It seems about as random as your RPS generator, if I'm being honest.
Oh, as random as my RPS generator, huh?
Oh, wow, that's crazy. Whoa. I'm going to start rolling rock.
I should have just done that one out of spite, just because of that. But, you know, it did roll a 6, just for the record. I know you can't see it, but good luck, buddy. We'll see what happens.
I don't know if I'm going to get to use it. I noticed there is already some variance between our decks. I'm playing 2 more cards than you. Wait, how is that possible? I thought I was on 41. And you're playing 0 cards in the extra deck.
And you're playing 1 card in the extra deck, which could be literally anything. You know. Could be anything. Could be anything.
See,
All right.
it was competitive.
Let's go ahead and fire off a reinforcement of the army.
Do whatever you want, dude. You think I can interact with you?
No, I know you can't interact with me. I'm going to get Dark Greffer.
Wow, that's interesting. Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and normal... excuse me. I'm going to... I want to do this.
Yeah, it's a weird position, right? If you have a malicious in hand, you want to simultaneously discard it to summon Dark Greffer and discard it for Dark Greffer's effect.
I'm going to normal summon Dark Greffer.
Sure.
I will use the effect of Dark Greffer. I will pitch the plasma that is in my hand.
Dog.
And we're going to send Disc Commander to the graveyard.
That's fine, yeah. All right, count along
I'm going to go ahead and premature burial.
Oh, God. Targeting Disc Commander, I'd imagine.
Targeting Disc Commander,
and I'll
of course.
blow your back walls out right now, idiot. Take my DD Crow!
Oh, why do you do this to me? Oh, that sucks. All right. Well, I guess I deserve that. I'll set one and pass. No, I'll set two and pass, actually. Go ahead.
All right, anything in standby? I don't think you have a
I got
target
Dust
for
Shoot.
Crush card. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, I needed every one of these cards. Okay, well, all it's really going to cheat me out of is the battle phase. Check out my busted-ass hand. Heavy Storm, Solemn, D-Draw, Stratos, and Sangan. A million ways to find Disc Commander and a million cards I can draw afterwards.
Oh, my God.
It's a good one.
Okay. Well, I think I go with Stratos here.
Gotta agree.
Yeah, it's... You can still get to Disc Commander with Sangan, but at least I keep the Greffer at the very least. But, go ahead.
And if you think I'm not above Heavy Storming one card, you're out of your mind. I know that's your crush card. Let's see it.
It's actually the Fires of Doom's...
Oh. Oh.
Take that, you fool!
I see why you were kind of hesitant to send the plasma to the grave, because, like,
yeah,
you could get it out this way, but I can't believe people are still playing this unironically. What the fuck?
Yeah.
All right, let's do the boring play. I'm on a normal Sangan. We'll walk into your Greffer. I'll take 7. And could be anything here. I'm going to go ahead and get myself a copy of Disc Commander.
Sure.
All right, next up, main phase 2. Let's go ahead and fire off this D-Draw. You can ash me at your earliest convenience. I'll draw a couple of cards here. Oh, those are not really what I wanted to see. Huh. I guess I will set 2 cards, and you are good to go.
Okay, so I know you have Judgment, and that's the only thing I know, because the other 2 cards are fresh off of the Disc Commander. I will draw. It's not pretty. Let's go to battle.
I'll take my 17.
Main 2, I'm going to Monster Reborn your Disc Commander.
Oh. Trying to eat out my Judgment. If I Judgment,
I mean, that's
go super low, but I think I probably have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good way to eat it out.
Yeah, you drawing 2 cards seems a little too strong.
Yeah, in retrospect, I probably should have done that in the reverse order. That would have been the smart thing to do. I'll pass.
Oh my god. Alex, how does it feel to be playing against an individual who is simply too good at Yu-Gi-Oh? All right.
You drew the Dark Arm, didn't you?
No, first I'm going to show you my my draw off of Destiny Draw. It was malicious. And now I'm going to show you the card I drew for turn, the second Destiny Draw.
Oh my god!
So the good news is that malicious is, not malicious, Dark Arm Dragon is pretty much out of this game. But the bad news for you is that now I get to actually resolve some stuff. I'm going to go for the Mally here.
Sure.
We're going to summon a Mally from deck. I guess I can get over a token, right? What are they? Zeros?
They're actually, yeah, they're 0.
That's kind of sick. For some reason, Mally is semi-limited, which makes no sense to me. Like, why would you semi-limit Mally at any time? Why would Mally ever live on the semi-limit list for 2.5 years, Konami? All right, we'll
Token
get in.
down.
I'll set 1 card. Shit, this hand is pee bad. I'll set another card, and you are good to go.
All right. I will draw. Oh,
and before you enter your main phase,
okay,
I will activate
Crush Card Virus.
Woo! This card is so stupid.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. You got the Dark Arm Dragon in my hand, too.
Oh, I'm so good with that D-draw rotting, but apparently now we have reached parity. Someone's gonna have to figure out a way to win this game. It's gotta be me, and unfortunately, you're still on Dark Armed. I need you to draw another Dark Monster in the next 3 turns, Buckaroo.
I mean, I'm under Crush Card, so, like, it's not like it's gonna do a whole lot. Part of me was almost tempted to pitch the dad and send something else with the Greffer, but, like, I didn't know if that was going to accomplish anything.
How did I get this good at Yu-Gi-Oh? I just don't understand. How did I get this good at Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh my god!
I'm just so fucking good. Okay, so I could pull Greffer here. I could pull Fearmonger.
This is criminal.
That sounds terrible. I think I'm probably just pulling Stratos like a good player.
Yeah, because you can get all of them with Stratos.
Oh, Stratos will go get Fearmonger.
Fuck.
Hand. And
yep.
I actually think that Fearmonger is the worst card in this deck. I don't know why people played this garbage. I'm just going to Allure to get it out of my hand.
Sure, that's fine.
Oh my god. Some pretty sick rips, buddy. All right, let's eat the token.
Token down.
Yeah. And you are good to go.
Please.
All right, let's see
my god. It's a good one.
Oh, it is a good one. The
Go
good news
ahead.
is, if you outlast the Crush card, you have the potential to like go plus 12.
I do, but that's if I outlast the Crush card, which is very unlikely if I had to guess, sir.
This is a rough one. Unfortunately,
this is not a rough one. You are not under Crush card with no cards that do anything.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to actually win the game is the problem, and I'm coming up a little short.
Oh my god.
Someday you are gonna. Your next draw is actually off Crush card, correct?
No, I have one more under Crush card.
Very fun. This card is so cool, and what I like the most about it is it really separates the skilled players from the unskilled players.
Of course, absolutely.
Deciding what I want to do here, I think the answer is in main phase 2. I'm gonna set one, and you are good to go. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Okay. The cool thing is most of the Destiny heroes are actually under Crush card's attack range.
Right.
So if I'm lucky enough, I can actually like maybe start to draw some other stuff.
What do we get, buddy?
It's a good one. It's a good one.
That actually is not a bad one.
It's not a bad one, but like you have 3 back row for 1.
I do.
2, assuming I'm gonna survive another turn to be able to use it. I can't, like, kill you with it now. That'd be really nice if I could. Just go. I mean, there's nothing I can do. If you got it, you got it.
Can I get another monster? Apparently, I cannot. What the hell is going on?
Okay. All right. That's... Thank you.
All right, so you get a turn here. So I know the hand. It's Brain Control,
Double D draw trade-in.
It has the potential to be very explosive. Go ahead.
And then this is where you dust shoot right now.
I wish. God, could you imagine?
Oh, that would be amazing. Okay, I am going to set 3 cards face down. And pass the turn.
Oh. Oh, okay. So it's like D-draw, and then 1 reactive trap. That's the idea?
Possibly.
Okay, I'll draw.
They could just all be bluffs, and I'm just trying to force you to do something.
Stand by main?
Yeah, you're good.
If you think you're going to force me to do something, I'm not going to do it. I'm walking in, baby.
I do have Scapegoat.
Oh. Unfortunately for you, I have Solemn Judgment. So let's go.
Yep, that's fantastic. All right, game 2. Joseph, aside from how infuriating that game was, it absolutely infuriating. I think the funniest part about it still is that this is supposed to be the dad mirror, and we still have yet to actually drop dad at any point.
Sorry, I'm a little infuriating. I thought that was a pretty evenly matched test of skill. I think the more skilled Yu-Gi-Oh player won, and I hope that I can repeat it this game. I don't understand. Why didn't you just play around D-draw into malicious into... Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in all fairness, the DD Crow actually really just shot me in the leg on that one because that was just miserable. Because I had Reborn and the Premature as well. That would have just been so strong.
Speaking of miserable, my hand for game 2 is a little sussy. I think I think we might be going to game 3. This may be just another among the millions that we have seen where we fail to convert on a best of 3.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'll start with a D draw pitching Mally.
Yeah, that's pretty good, buddy. May you draw your other Mally?
It's a good start. It's a good start. I'm going to fire Gold Sark.
Oh. Dang it. I forgot this was legal. Yeah, so you could either get DMOC here for like a sick preem play, or you can get Dad and just threaten me and just say, in 2 turns, buddy, he's coming.
Yeah, he's coming at some point. We will banish the Dark Arm Dragon. I think that will be fine. And then, you know, my hand's a bit weird too. I'm going to set 3.
Jesus Christ. 1-time Heavy Storm.
And pass it to you. Go ahead.
Got a Dust Shoot?
And in the standby, I do have the Dust Shoot again.
So the great news for me is that my hand is all monsters. You cannot possibly Dust Shoot them all. The bad news for you is that I drew DD Crow for turn. So I'm deciding if I want to fire that off, targeting your Malicious to put you back a little bit, and punishing you for forgetting to banish it. Unless you drew the Malicious, in which case, get owned, nerd. Let's go ahead and banish it, yeah.
Okay. Sure.
So here's my hand. It's Preem and then 4 monsters. For what it's worth, I do want to Preem one of these monsters, maybe 2, but not particularly good, and a pretty clear trap Dust Shoot target for you as well.
Good lord.
Yeah, it could be Trooper, could be Stratos, but the Stratos targets are a little less good since I already have the Disc Commander. But you could, I would really appreciate if you Dust Shoot the Disc Commander back. I want that guy out of here. I'm also in a weird position where, like, I'm actually pretty close to just Tribute summoning the Dark Magician of Chaos.
Yeah, it's very realistic that could happen.
Like, obviously I can't this turn. But over the course of the next couple of turns, if I go, like, Card Trooper Mill Mally, I can banish a Mally, Premature, the DD Crow, Tribute for Chaos, get the Premature back, and then I'm pretty much in the same position I would be otherwise.
So I'm not sending back Disc Commander.
No,
I don't
come
think.
on, buddy. Come on, buddy. What if you come on?
Like, I don't think that makes like much sense. Like, I guess I could, but
yeah, it's. I think that's the pretty easy keep. If you knew I had something like a Phoenix Blade, maybe you would tuck it back. But under this condition, probably not.
I also don't feel like Card Trooper matters that much.
Certainly less of a high impact normal summon than Stratos.
DMOC is actually like somewhat concerning just because you have Premature Burial.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I guess I see where you're having trouble here.
Yeah, like I'm between those two at this point, and obviously you don't know the rest of my cards either.
Sure.
So
you could have like a Crush card, and you know suddenly the Trooper becomes a high impact target.
To be fair, if I had Crush card, I would have banished from Mally, and we wouldn't be in this position.
That's why I am so glad that you did not.
Okay, I'm gonna shuffle back the Stratos.
Yeah, seems right. I think that's probably what I would have done. Like, DMOC is just going to be there forever, and if it comes up, it comes up.
You're going to have to find a way to discard it. It's the way I'm looking at it.
All right, we're going to try for Trooper. This probably isn't worth Solemning, but if you'd like to, you can.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, I'm going to go for 3.
Okay. There's your Heavy Storm.
there's a pretty sick DMOC target if I ever get that asshole back. All right, let's get in for 19.
True. I'll Goat here. Just because the damage threshold's so high, I'll insulate my life a little bit.
Goat is just such a problem for me. Yeah, I'll get one of the Goats, and we'll go to main phase 2. If you make Plasma, you make Plasma. Go ahead, buddy.
That would be a nice rip off the top. I'll
No fucking way. Absolutely no fucking way. Absolutely no way.
Well, I guess I'm not under any pressure. Go ahead, buddy.
Like, if you Plasma my Trooper, buddy, it is over for you. All right, let's go for a Trooper again, if you'll allow it.
That's fine.
Oh.
Oh.
Whoa, hold up. One of those
are some
motherfuckers is
hits.
pretty good.
Those are some hits. Okay. I'm going to Mind Crush Premature Burial.
You son of a bitch. Yeah, I could have gotten so much done. Preem back the Greffer. Discard the Disc Commander. Send Malicious. Summon DMOC. But yeah, I do have a Premature Burial. Now, at this time, do you get to see the remainder of my hand?
You do.
All right.
Correct.
The card that you do not know is a Solemn Judgment.
Pretty good.
All right, let's get into another goat, I guess. I'll normal summon
All right.
a Disc Commander, make this a little bit faster. And then second main, I'll set one card. Could be anything.
Could be anything.
Could be anything, and you are good to go.
We'll draw. Oh my god. Why is this happening? I do get the Dark Arm Dragon after this second turn finally. Glad I get to use this at some point.
All right, so we've got what? 0 darks in graveyard? We're getting there. We're getting there, buddy.
Correct. We're getting there very slowly, very painfully. Oh my god. Well, I guess this is how it's gonna be, huh? I will set one and pass. Go ahead.
Alex.
DD Crow came in so clutch for you these games. Unbelievable.
It was quite good. Let me ask
Unbelievable.
you, how many dark monsters do I have in my graveyard?
Fuck off.
No, could you imagine? I don't have fucking Dark Arm Dragon.
I don't believe you.
I don't know, but I might soon. Thinking about if I want a card trooper here. So obviously the play is normal summon the Dark Magician of Chaos, and I'm super excited to do it.
Which I never thought we'd get to that point, let's just say.
I'm so pumped. If I card trooper and it goes poorly, I could cut myself off of Dad for the rest of the game. But if I card trooper and I mill a Malicious, I can keep the card trooper and maybe draw some cards later. And I think that's just a little too sexy to pass up. So I'm going to go for card trooper again, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Ah,
okay.
Son of a bitch. All right, that's the worst case scenario.
You're gonna drop D-Maw, come on.
Yeah, no, I have to do some thinking about what the next play after that is.
Oh, okay, fair,
All right,
fair.
You
got some, I mean, you've got a few spells to pick from. It's not like, I mean, obviously Premature Burialing for Disc Commander is gonna be the play. Like, I don't know why you're thinking about this.
I am gonna demock here, I'm gonna target Preem.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to activate Preem. I'm going to target the boy, Mr. Commander.
Okay, I'm going to MST the Preem, so if you want it, you have to pay 4K to do it.
Wow. I'd go really low.
Or 3,600, actually, because you already paid for Premature.
Yeah, I want it. What are you talking about?
Of course you're going to, yeah. Right. Like, you, there's no universe you're not going to do that.
It does kind of suck. I could just get my back walls blown out by Dad here, but let's draw a couple of cards. Oh, maybe not. Okay, let's go to combat. I'll walk into the token here, and then I'll get in for 28.
First damage, yep.
Oh, to think you'd be dead if you hadn't had the scapegoat. All right, I'll set one. You're good to go.
We will draw. You know, that isn't too bad. Normal summon Stratos.
That is a good one. Yep.
No judgment?
No judgment. God, I would kill for a judgment.
I bet. I mean, that would basically have just, like, sealed up this game entirely at this point. What do we grab in here? I mean, I guess we're just getting the Disc Commander. I mean, this is... It's not like I have that many options. I have more options than the average, you know, deck would. But, all right, let's hit the Commander.
I'll take 15 here.
Yep. Knock you down to 21. Main 2. I go.
I'll draw for turn. Yuck! I feel pretty good that you're off, Dad.
I'm not even close to Dad. This graveyard is so light.
It's a little light, yeah.
What's going to happen is I'm going to draw Card Trooper next turn, and I'm going to mill 3 darks, and then that's how you're going to lose this.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at your graveyard, you got 5 darks in there, so I mean, you'd have to get a few of those out if you wanted to, Dad.
I'm going to go for Stratos of my own.
Shh. Of course. Of course, that's what he gets off the top. Yep, you're good.
Let's grab... Fuck, I don't know. Fearmonger? 15 mils.
The last target. Oh, no, you still got the Malleys.
I got Malleys. I'll go to combat. We'll attack here.
I'll take 28 total.
Yeah. 28 total, and... Unfortunately, pal, that is it.
Please. Well, Joseph, congratulations on the first ever three-peat in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Wait, how can you have 6 cards and they're all dead? It's impossible!
You want to see? You want to see how I have 6 cards and they're all dead?
Oh! Oh! Oh my God!
Turn after, by the way. Turn after, by the way.
Oh, Christ alive. Preem would have turned on everything.
Yep. Yep, I couldn't get a monster in the grave because once Demok hit the field, I'm like, this is so over. I'm like, because I drew the Stratos, which is great, but I can't recur it. You had Dust Tornado anyway, so it didn't matter.
I was in this just
my
extremely
God.
weird position where I was like, okay, I can Phantom of Chaos to banish like the Dark Grepper and get me to 4, and then I only have to find out a way to get 1 more out of the grave. I can kill you with Dad, but I guess I shouldn't have been concerned about anything. Holy shit, what a brick. My God, that is...
Well, it was... So the opener was the 3... The Dust Shoot, the Mind Crush, and the Goat. And then I had Maui, D-Draw, and, like, Caius. So the plan was I kept Maui in grave so that next turn I would bring it back to tribute for the Caius to start getting things going. But then you DD crowed it, and I'm like, well, there goes my whole plan. And then I'm pretty sure I had Premature Burial in hand at that point. And then I shit you not, that draw phase, I drew the second Maui.
Yes!
And that's where I was just like... Oh, God.
Yu-Gi-Oh,
yeah.
baby. God, Yu-Gi-Oh is so bad. Wow. What a crazy game. Again, a game... in a format defined by Dad, in which Dad did not make an appearance.
I feel like we have to do another game quickly.
Absolutely.
Like the Dad has to make an appearance. We haven't seen. We had the setup for Dad. And thinking back, like, you know, maybe I should have. Why'd I pick paper? I know you don't pick paper. Thinking back, I was on the Gold Sark. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have gone for Dark Arm Dragon, but I was thinking, okay, Maui and Caius is 2 darks, and I'm pretty likely to see another dark before I get in 2 turns, right? And then clearly that didn't happen at all, and so it just never came to light. And this would have been much better. We're gonna trade in away the Plasma, which is a great interaction that this deck has. Already. Yeah, I mean, it kind of just stops there, though. I just said a couple in pass, but fast and loose, buddy, fast and loose.
Anything in standby?
No, you're good. I don't have Trap Dust Shoot this time.
All right, Rhoda.
Yep.
Let's grab... Oh, God, we have so many good targets. I guess I'm going to grab a Stratos here.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to normal Stratos. I'm going to get Fearmonger, if you'll permit it.
Sure.
And then we'll Allure of Darkness.
Okay.
I'm going to draw 2. Oh, whoa! I'll banish the Fearmonger.
Okay.
I'm going to activate Heavy Storm here.
I'll chain Goat for the 3rd game.
Oh, great. My favorite. Well, no reason to overextend. Let's just walk into that. Oh, it could be like a Sangan. I'll walk into it regardless.
Okay, it's actually a Spirit Reaper.
Okay, well, this is looking like a board state I am intimately familiar with. Go ahead.
Yep. I will draw, and...
I do have Dust Shoot.
Ooh. Okay. So go ahead and take a pick. There's only 2 of them, and I think I know which one you're going for.
Ooh. I kind of like taking Mally here. Let me check your grave real quick. Yeah, we'll take Dad.
Yeah.
Ooh,
okay.
We could take Mally. No.
Well, we won't be doing much on this board, so I'll just pass it over.
Okay, I'll draw for turn. Yuck. Okay, let's Rhoda again.
Sure.
We're going to grab a copy of... where is he? Dark Griefer. We're going to normal the Greffer. I'll trigger the effect. I'm going to pitch a Sangan, which is kind of sussy. And we're going to send a Disc Commander.
Okay.
Then we'll preem back the Disc Commander.
Gross.
Let's draw a couple of cards. Oh, these were pretty good. Let's go ahead and go to combat. We'll go Greffer into the token, Stratos into the token, Disc Commander into the token.
Okay.
And you are good to go, my friend.
We'll draw, and that's a decent one. Let's... I don't think I matter on this too much. Brain Control, the... Debating between Stratos and Greffer here. I don't think it matters, like, all that much. I guess we'll take Greffer, just so you don't, like, do any more sending, I guess.
That's fine.
And then we shall tribute both of them for a Light and Darkness Dragon.
Oh, that's really bad. Yep.
And we will hit into Disc Commander for 25. And then main phase 2, I think we can just pass it over. Go ahead.
So it's Mally, Dad in hand. That's kind of crusty. So I'm going to normal Cyber Valley.
Fuck! You know it! Yep.
I think I'll be activating the second effect of Cyber Valley.
Fuck off.
Okay, that's interesting. So after that, I think that I'm gonna activate the second effect of Cyber Valley. Woo! And we'll just keep going. Bring him down. This is, he ends up at what? 800, 400?
800, yeah.
Okay, next let's D-draw. I'm gonna pitch a malicious to the graveyard.
I did allude to an interaction that I really hope we got to show off in this episode, and this was exactly it. Kicking me while I'm down, Joseph, I see. You're a very honorable opponent, I see.
True. Okay, so how does this work? You get to special summon a card from the grave. Well, it can't be the fucking plasma, that's for sure. I don't know. Let's just go to combat. I'll walk in with the Stratos here.
So I take 1,000,
Yep.
trigger Lad, I lose my token. I'll get back the only target I have, which is Reaper.
Oh, God. Can you, I wish that this card worked the way that it works with Premature Burial and Call, where because it's being constantly targeted, if you preem it back, you just lose it. But no, I think it's fine to stay on the field for now. Alright, I will set one card. I almost want to even Cyber Valley, but I think I'm just going to pass.
Alright, we'll draw. Okay, that's not a bad one. 3 in hand.
Just keeping a close eye on that graveyard. Like, 1, 2.
I mean, it can matter. It can matter. I guess we'll go with this. Let's normal summon Card Trooper.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's fine.
And then we'll fire the effect if that's okay.
3 darks. 3 darks. That was 0 darks.
Kind of want to put Reaper to attack just so...
To proc the Valley early?
I can proc Valley, yeah, but I also don't want to like take that much damage either on the crackback. I also don't want you getting more cards. Maybe it's worth it. Yeah, let's go for it. Hit Stratos.
This is what, 100?
100, and then you can proc your Valley.
I will. We banish this card, right?
Yes. And then main 2... got nothing else. Go ahead.
Oh my god. I almost banished the Mally, so I didn't draw Mally, but I drew Mally. I think it ends up being fine because I have the fucking D-draw in hand, and this is my last
Oh my god.
target.
Punished. Never punished.
Okay, I'm going to normal summon Phantom of Chaos.
Oh boy. Yep.
I'm going to target Stratos, actually. This isn't, like, sexy or anything, which means that it sucks. But I just have to attack over the Card Trooper here, I think.
Okay, so I take 14.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll draw a card.
Second main, I'm going to Brain Control your Spirit Reaper.
Yeah, so he'll get destroyed. And I will draw. So, you know I have this, so you probably have a judgment for it.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so he really wants to protect the other card in his hand. Or back row, rather. So that leads me to believe that that other card might be another Solemn Judgment?
Whoa, what's your target?
Your Disc Commander.
My Disc Commander? Shit!
Yeah.
Yes, that is fine.
Wow, okay. I didn't think we'd get this far. And then Effective Disc Commander.
Yeah?
Okay, I will draw 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good, actually. Let's go ahead and Rhoda.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We will grab... I think I only have a couple of targets in here. Yeah, we'll grab the Greffer here. Then let's go D-draw pitch Mally.
Yo, that is fine. Oh, this is really the worst case scenario.
Phantom of Chaos is until your... So he's back to being 0-0, correct?
He's back to being 0-0.
Okay, so that means you need some specific way to protect it. Otherwise, I could just kill you with... oh, actually, no. I summoned the Disc Commander defense position, so that actually would not kill you.
Real
Take that
quick.
back.
I don't think... Did you take damage from the Phantom of Chaos attack?
Oh, does he not do damage?
Yeah, this card sucks.
Oh, it's terrible. All right, yeah, I'll gain the 1400 back then. My bad. That could matter. We'll have to see.
I think it will.
It's possible. Very possible. Okay, let's drop down the boy. Show me.
Would you like to do anything with Prio?
I would like to go after your back row if you'll allow it.
This is so bad.
I'll get rid of the plasma.
I'm gonna Wind Blast the Dark Arm Dragon.
Yeah, that seems pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then we will normal the Greffer.
Yep.
And go to battle phase. I'll just hit over this. And like I said, would have had game here, but I have Dark Arm on top, so I'm not feeling too bad about it. Main 2, I will just set 1, and I'll pass the turn. To be fair, I didn't know I was going to draw a dad of all things.
All right. Set 1, pass.
Draw.
Yep.
Could be anything.
True.
Can't summon it, though, because I only have 2 darks. Attack with Disc Commander.
I do have Return.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
So we'll get Stratos, Valley, and I think that's all I need to not die here. I'll trigger Stratos. I don't know if I have any, though.
Okay.
I could get Fearmonger, too. Yeah, let me get all 3 and then trigger Stratos to pop the back row.
Sure. Yeah, I'll just Fires of Doomsday in response, then.
All right, that's fine.
I mean, if I'm not doing anything else, might as well get my tokens. So return, everything's just going to get banished at the end, so I might as well just not give you any
But what if you
advantage
attack
at
the
that point.
Cyber Valley, though? What if you attack...
Why on earth would I do that? That just seems like a terrible idea. Yeah, I'll just go to main 2, and I'll set 1. I guess I'll Rhoda
Sure.
just to get any last warriors out of my deck. I got a few of them. I guess I'll get my own Disc Commander. And go ahead.
Oh, hold up.
Oh, no.
That might do something. Okay.
Oh, no.
I'm in a different dimension reincarnation.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to pitch DD Crow. So the turn you reborned, because you picked a monster in my graveyard, I couldn't fucking crow it.
I've been there.
I'm going to get Cyber Valley, I think. Can I get Stratos? No, it doesn't do anything. I can get Stratos. I have literally no targets left in my deck. Literally.
Valley Wall's up.
I gotta do Valley. It doesn't even, really, because if you could find a way to get a Dark into the graveyard with, like, a Greffer, then I am fucked. Let's go to combat. I'm gonna attack into this token, I think is the play.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sounds good. All right, we'll draw. I will use Greffer's effect.
Because that
No,
would
that
put you to
doesn't.
4.
That puts me to 4 is the problem. Yeah, I need a way to get it out.
In deck, but
Yeah,
then you're locked
after that
on
point.
monsters.
That's weird. I mean, to be fair, you're top decking a single card, and you're
strange.
out of dad range, so, like, am I really that concerned? All right, I'll just put this back to defense. I'll just hit the Valley.
Yeah. All right, let's get my card.
Yeah, you get to draw off of that, which is
That's
pretty
That's
good.
not a good one.
I'll just set 1 in main 2. Go ahead.
Oh, fuck off, game. All right, go ahead.
Well, that'll do it. I will DD Crow any of your monsters, and then bring out Dad.
Hold up. At resolution of DD Crow.
Oh, do you have your own DD Crow?
I do have my own DD
Oh
Crow.
my god!
I'm gonna take the Mally here.
All right, well, didn't work as I expected it to. Let's put the good old Disc Commander back in attack position. So the only thing that I guess saves you here... Oh, Reaper's gone, so I actually don't know what saves you here. Attack?
You fool! It's my morphing jar! I feel like I still could do this if there wasn't a fucking monster on your side of the field. Oh, actually, maybe not. These draws were not good enough.
Yeah, and then I'll just hit you with the Disc Commander for games. Okay, I mean, I did at least get... Oh, that is actually hysterical. I drew 2 more dads off of the morphing jar.
Me too, but unfortunately...
Oh, perfect! Perfect.
My grave was not set up for dad anymore. That was an interesting one. Again,
It was.
No dad involved, but the threat of dad loomed large over that game for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting how it's just this large specter that you always have to worry about at all times, but it seems like because the format was so solidified and super honed to do everything possible to not get blown out by dad, we just never saw it. And it seemed like that was the way that the decks were designed, or we're just, terrible at the game. I mean, it could be either way.
I mean, I'll be real. I played a little fast and loose that game 3. Phantom of Chaos, for instance, probably not important to my game plan. But that was an interesting set for sure. Yeah, I mean, this was dad format. And I think this is kind of the most frustrating part about it, is that you could get out of games or even matches without seeing dad and feel like, oh, I don't need this card to compete, right? Like, if I have the DMOC, if I have the Disc Commander, if I have, like, the shell of DDT that's kind of everywhere this format, maybe I can still play against the big boys. And all it takes is one dad search, one dad summon, one effect activation for you to go, oh, I was completely wrong. I am fucked 6 ways from Sunday if I don't own this card.
I really did like this deck because it played the trade-ins and the plasmas, which, maybe aren't the most consistent cards, but I like that they were going for this sort of deep draw concept, because plasma fills the role of being a D-draw and a trade-in target, which I thought was kind of neat and helps you load the grave up with darks a little bit quicker. And so you also are playing Lad, and Lad is level 8 as well. So if you can't actually establish one, you can just pitch it for a trade-in in the early game and just draw a couple of cards. So I thought that was a kind of neat concept out of the selections that I had for this episode here. But after seeing those opening hands in the last couple of games, it just didn't. It was not meant to be. The fortune was in your favor, sir. The darkness is definitely with you, and that is why you've finally been bestowed with the three-peat. So congratulations.
I've done it, and I believe that this edges our win-loss ever closer. I think I am 2 behind you now.
I think so.
Embarrassing start.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This
it's getting a lot closer.
Is getting close. I'm starting to sweat a little bit.
We're almost in the 40s of episodes now,
Jeez.
and the fact that it's this close, it's been like just inches each time. We've never really gotten too big of a lead, except when I had that jump start in the beginning. But ever since then, we've always been about 3 to 4 games apart. So I think that's been a good competition.
I will say, in terms of Dark Arm Dragon mirrors, etc. Game 1, you were never winning. My hand was I am just unthinkably strong. It would have been criminal if I had lost that game, and also my own damn fault. Game 2, I feel like my hand was pretty bad, but yours showcased another bad part of this deck. We're accustomed to having, like, D-draw always online. We're accustomed to having our conditional draw spells, our conditional summon spells always available. But if you draw too many of the wrong ones without the targets, you kind of brick. Even in decks as consistent as this, you can find yourself with a grip full of D-draws and trade-ins and nothing to send them with maybe a Jinzo or a Phantom of Chaos and kind of a hope and a song. And I think that's a lot of the reason, even in a format where everyone's on dark monsters, you just didn't see a Lure of Darkness, It's very strange.
I'm also very happy we did play that third game, because we got to showcase the Cyber Valley Light and Darkness Dragon interaction. Fun fact, this exact deck that I'm playing actually lost because of that exact reason, because people figured out that Cyber Valley exactly has an effect that isn't once per turn, but it's just not very likely you're going to be able to use the effect multiple times, because typically Cyber Valley will not be on the field anymore. And so people figured out that if you have Cyber Valley in the face of a Light and Darkness Dragon, because Light and Darkness Dragon for these events specifically started to actually become much more popular, because it's something that can actually maintain a good grip on the game state and slow it down in the face of something like Dark Arm Dragon. And so just going Cyber Valley 4 times into a Light and Darkness Dragon drains all of its negations, and then it's looking kind of embarrassing at that point. But it was very funny and very poetic, considering that's how this deck also lost in the SJC semifinals. That's how it happened. But yeah, just one of those cool little interactions. We were saying during the off-camera time that Cyber Valley is just one of those cards we've been continuously impressed more and more with each time we've played it. And you and I both remember it from back in the day, but I think just looking at it even now with fresh eyes, it was a phenomenal card.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! That, at least from my perspective, have kind of shown themselves as massively overrated in their time. A bunch of cards that now, with like the hindsight that we have, the smaller skill gap between the top players and like the mediocre players, etc., we can see that in old formats we missed a lot. and we thought that a lot of cards that were really, really ubiquitous, they were everywhere, just actually weren't very good at all. You know, Snipe Hunter springs to mind. But Cyber Valley is kind of the opposite. A card that had a very short stint of playability, was certainly very popular in its heyday, but really impressed me in terms of the scale, like how quickly this card can turn around losing game states. I mean, a big bright spot in this format for sure.
And so as the dark days come to an end, there is the light at the end of the tunnel, Joseph, because Light of Destruction is next episode. And funny enough, it's not even the Lightsworn part of it that most people are probably looking forward to. It's Gladiator Beast of all things.
I can't wait to see my favorite light attribute decks rise to the top of the standings. But first, to take a big sip of water. You know?
Yeah, we have the release of Gladiator Beast Geyserus, and Geyserus basically kind of almost welcomes us into another Tier 0 format with Gladiator Beast here very, very shortly, because Geyserus is a force to be reckoned with. Everyone is out to murder this deck. I think there's a ban list also that kind of cakes things and chops them down to size a little bit, but man, it is going to be a Gladiator Beast showcase next time. You can bet that we're going to be one of us, if not both of us, are going to be playing Glads next time, and that's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you thought these games were explosive, I mean, I don't know how to say this, but you have not seen anything yet. The Forbidden List that you're referring to actually came into effect May 9th, so the day before this tournament.
Oh, perfect.
Did not hit the Dark Arm Dragon.
Of course.
Did not hit anything super relevant. I guess Allure of Darkness went from 3 to 2, and Return went from 3 to 1. But
those were definitely the problem cards.
Yeah, that was the problem. But basically what happens is you have a ban list, an immediate tournament, an immediate set release, and then 3 months of triple dad Geyserus. And it is a nightmare.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, though, because we're going to have we'll probably have like a Glad mirror. We'll probably have to do Dad versus Glad. That rhymed. That was odd, but it's going to be a lot of fun just showcasing just two titans of historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Going at it in 2008. I can't wait. That's going to be so much fun.
And let me tell you, the format after this, oh boy, strap yourselves in for a ban list the size of GOAT formats. It is a slaughter.
So guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! We do have to shout out our patrons, though, so big shouts to Shadow1317, Showtagonist, Sean Alling Jr., Cameron Smith, Joshua Schlee, and Gayoko, Tim00x3, Ika Ironfang, Pony Stark, Ian Musa, Michael Dente, Dan the Man Hoban, Part 2, Synchro Guy, Mystic Walk, Inyuna Taisho, Draconic, Dolly Wop, Dragon Lord, Jarvis Martin, Logan Thomas, Peter Gregory, Thomas Nelson, Jordan Coons, Calvin, Iron Bladesman, Pure Ace, Jesse Wood, True Nerdgasm, Cole T, Benjamin Fuller, Brother Paul, Chris Hood, Lumpy, Nehru Celeste, Shane Reese, We Don't Read Our Cards, that's a good new one, David Liu, Rockley325, Lane Rogers, Brett Havey, Isaiden, Gren Maju, and Salad, Sky Rose, Dylan Hunter, Garthox DOW, John 2 Based, Apathy Astro, Brody Eastwood, Dace Allen, and Flannel Daddy. Thank you all so much for watching the video, and we will see you in Light of Destruction.